Rolex is one of the three biggest and expensive brands in the world, whose value is approximately $8 billion. If we talk about the value of this brand, then it is almost 100 years old, and this story begins with a child whose entire heritage was stolen from him. In difficult times, this child had nothing except his courage, and behind this courage, this small child not only left his home but also settled in another country. After facing a few years of struggle, this child followed his dream project and started a brand of watches. At that time, this child had no idea that the car brand he started would become the pioneer of modern watches in the coming times. Friends, this is the story of Hans Wilsdorf, who gave the world Rolex watch. This video is going to be very interesting. Do watch it from start to finish. So let's start. Hans was born on the 22nd of March 1881 in a region of Germany. His mother's name was Hans and his father's name was Johann Daniels. He was the second among three siblings. His father had a well-established business which was inherited by his grandfather. In 1892, Hans's father died. In the very next year, in 1893, Hans's father Johann Daniel passed away. As a result, Hans became an orphan at the age of 12. As soon as Hans's father died, his uncle sold all the family businesses and used some money from the proceeds for the education of his siblings. He got these three siblings admitted in a boarding school. Life in boarding school was very difficult for Hans. Firstly, he was not from that area, and secondly, because of his religion, the children of the boarding school often made fun of Hans. Fed up with these conditions, Hans changed his school. Hans started liking school a lot. Today, Hans got very good marks in mathematics and language among the senior students of the school. It can be said that these two subjects were Hans's favorites. Hans became a friend in the school. This boy was a resident of Scherdiepe in the city of Switzerland. This boy used to tell Hans stories of his city, that how the business of making watches has been going on in full swing in his city for many years. Hearing all this, Hans liked this city very much. Then one day Hans got fed up and left his school life and moved out of Switzerland. He got a job in Geneva, a city in Switzerland, at the age of 19. This job was to work in an international exporting company. This company bought waste from most of the places, cleaned and maintained them properly, and then sold all these waste for free to the live jailers. While working in this company, Hans learned how this company was not making any of its own products but was earning a lot of money by picking up waste from one place and supplying it to another place. Hans learned the business module and the amazing business idea of this company. Then one day Hans lost his friend. In this letter, his friend offered him a job in the company. The name of the company was Guna Cotton. It was one of the biggest high-quality watchmakers or watchmaking company of the time. This company was based in Mahant. Always wanted to go there. Now the problem was that Hans was already earning more money in the company where he was working. If he had gone to mining cotton, his salary would have been less. But Hans always wanted to go to Guna city, and his interest in cars had also developed quite well. Keeping all this in mind, Hans finally started his journey towards Guna city. In the year 1900, Hans reached this city. The job he got in Guna Cotton was that of an English correspondent and clerk. Apart from this, Hans was also given another job, that he would give keys to many cars throughout the day and also check whether all types of watches are working properly or not. While doing this job, Hans not only stepped into the world of cars but also increased his knowledge about all types of watches. Hans came to know which watch is made in which way and how it works. In 2 years, Hans worked as a watchmaker. After that he had to join the German army to fight the war. When the war ended, he moved out to London. In London, Hans got a good job in another watchmaking company. This watch company was also very big and it made very expensive watches. He got a job here to find out how to increase the sales of cars. Hans worked in this company for 2 years and progressed well. He also got many new clients for his company. But at the same time, while working in this company, Hans was also planning how to start his own watchmaking company. Sangeet, who became his wife after a few years. Hans talked to his brother-in-law David about this dream project. He had knowledge of almost everything related to cars. He was lacking only capital. The finance he got to start his business was from his brother-in-law Davis. Davis knew this thing. Hans had become a fan of cars. So Hans will be successful in setting up his dream project of making a car company. In 1905, both of them laid the foundation of their company and its name was Wilsdorf and Davis Limited. After a few years, the name of this company was changed to Rolex. This company started making watches and after that these watches also started getting exported to the whole world. The major benchmark of this company was to make such a watch which is good in quality but also affordable. In the youth, men used to use only pocket watches but these were very big in size. Wrist watches were worn only by women. Apart from jewelry items, wrist watches were small in size. They had technical closures inside them due to which it used to show time either too fast or too slow. On the other hand, Hans had a kind of allergy to pocket watches. He used to feel uncomfortable after putting the watch in the pocket again and then taking out the watch and then checking the time. But among all the watchmaking companies, Corsair stereotype was very famous. The problem was that no such wrist watch could be made which would tell accurate time. He predicted that pocket watches would become absolute in the coming times and would not use coins and everyone, be it men or women, would wear wrist watches. Based on this prediction, Hans set out to make a perfect wrist watch. He traveled and met many watchmakers and discussed the matter with them for hours. After this, Hans started manufacturing wrist watches under the banner of his company. He kept making suggested watches and his only thought was that he had to create or make a perfect wrist watch. With time, Hans started getting good clients. In 1908, Hans's company became one of the few big watchmaking companies in England. In 1908 itself, Hans started thinking about changing the name of his company. It took a lot of time for Hans to finalize the new name of the company, but eventually he did it. The name was finalized very hard. As soon as the brand Rolex came in the market, it started selling very fast. Rolex watches became very popular. Hans's business was at its peak when the First War started in the world. Due to this war, where many other watchmaking companies were shut down, there was no decrease in the sales of Rolex. The reason was very simple, that the time accuracy of Rolex was amazing. During the First War, many soldiers were also given Rolex watches to check the time. All these circumstances also increased the sales of Rolex and Rolex started growing by leaps and bounds. Due to the precision of time, Rolex got certified all over the world. Now when everything was going well for Hans, in those days the government of England imposed a new tax of 33% on all those companies that sell their products across the border. Hans got angry on hearing about the tax of 33%. He got worried about his survival and shifted his company's headquarters from England to Switzerland. Apart from this, the main reason for shifting was Hans's name. The war was going on and people of England had started hating Germans. Hans's name itself was such that by reading it, one could clearly tell that he was a German. So, because of remembering German, it became difficult for Hans to live in England. In 1992, Hans changed the name of his company Wilsdorf and Davis Limited to Rolex Watch Corporation Limited. This name was completely changed. After changing the name of the company, Hans got the famous trademark of Rolex, the crown with 5 stars, registered. Now you can see the emblem on the dial of every original Rolex. Hans put all his effort to create more quality in Rolex watches. Now such watches should be made that despite facing dust, pressure, water, heat and cold, there should be no compromise in the precision of time. 1926. In 1999, Rolex made its new watch Rolex Oyster Obese. This watch created a sensation in the world of watchmaking. This watch was the world's first waterproof wrist watch. The interesting thing is that the full flex cells of this watch were held by the hands. This was the perfect opportunity for Hans to tell the world about this watch in some way. This perfect opportunity was given to Hans. A woman from London made the reason for the popularity of this cartoon, and she crossed the English Channel, which was long, and the water body which separated the border of England and France, by swimming all alone. This lady had done this feat, but most of the people did not believe in the strength of this lady, so this lady announced to cross this English Channel again. When Anch came to know about this challenge of this cartoon, he did just one thing. He convinced this lady that she should tie the Rolex Oyster watch around her neck and do it herself. She performed this challenge, but she did not cross this English Channel. The lady was almost about to cross the English Channel again by swimming, but she failed due to the weather conditions and the high temperature of the water. Now the lady was almost about to die. Now the lady was taken out of the water, but along with it the roller coaster of the Swan was destroyed. Despite being in the water for 10 hours, it kept on working in perfect condition. When people came to know about the quality of the Rolex Oyster, they became crazy about this watch. Hans even got the news of this feat of his watch published on the front page of all the major newspapers of London. After that, this one sentence made Rolex an international brand. Apart from this, what Hans did was that he installed a small tank of water above the window in all the outlets of Rolex. He put fishes inside this tank and also gave one Rolex Oyster to each of them. The common people passing by would see the water can, the water, the fishes, and then they would see this Rolex watch hanging in the middle of all this, and someone came to know that the Rolex Oyster is completely waterproof. This genius stretching did wonders for Hans. In 1928 Hans spent a lot of money on the advertisement of Rolex watches. He made London's famous Zamana model the brand ambassador of his watch. The British model's name was Evelyn Lane. He did many photo shoots wearing Rolex watches. In 1933, Rolex watches became very famous once again because the crew members of a flight over Mount Everest were wearing Rolex watches. This guru also did not have any problem with the precision of time in any of the watches. In 1935, the famous Zamana driver Welcome Campbell drove the car at a speed of 300 miles per hour. During this venture, Welcome was also wearing a Rolex watch. The watch became famous. In 1931, Rolex released the Rolex watch. This watch was not only waterproof but also became the world's first self-finding watch. The previous model Rolex Oyster had only one problem. This watch had to be rewound by oneself again and again. This problem also came to an end after the introduction of Rolex Toyster Perpetual. After this, when the second model started, Rolex suffered a huge loss due to this war. Hans was German, and during the Second War, almost the whole world started hating the Germans. It became almost impossible for Hans to export his cars. He had to spend double to triple the money in exporting cars. Hans was facing a lot of difficulties in business. Hans's wife died after this in his personal life. Hans created a charity organization in memory of his wife. Its name was Bill's Top Foundation. Before his death, Hans put all the assets of the Rolex company, that is, 100% ownershipable, under the Top Foundation. The charity foundation still runs the Rolex company. The Rolex company can neither be made public nor can it be sold, and it does not have to pay any kind of tax. Because it is under a charity organization, as soon as the sale happened, the sales went up to 1000% in a year. That is, Rolex sold as many watches that year as it had sold in the last 20 years. Rolex also started adding new watches to its cars every year. The dials of the cars also showed seconds and the day of the week was also shown. Rolex also started making deep diving watches. Hans Wilsdorf passed away in 1960, but his legacy is still alive. There is no other match for him in the world of cars. 1 or 3 boys saw a dream at a young age. He worked very hard to fulfill his dream. He spent his days and finally he succeeded in fulfilling his dreams. And friends, this is what happened. Also, we end our today's video here. The ad friends, how did you like today's video? How did you like the voiceover? Do tell me in the comments section below. Before closing the video, I have a small request to you, and that is, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, then please do subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon along with it. Take very care of yourself. Inshallah, we will meet some new and amazing sim.